And here we go. As the field starts to pair up, this is the first wave. So it's going to be the non-spec boxers coming down the front straightaway for the first time as they work their way slowly. Eyes on the starter. Green flag is out. Our first race weekend. The race of the weekend is underway. You see Phil Town taking the advantage there is Vivek Hazari, that wonderful camera that we see there around turns 1 and 2. So far, so good. We have the spec boxers coming at us here in just a little bit. And they'll come around with still the spec 2.7s ahead of Bear Salehi. There is your spec boxer field. A fantastic group here as they start to pick up speed. Green flag is out, and a couple cars decided to go just a little bit wide. That was Chris Basin who decided to go a little bit wide there with Rob Walker in row 2. And so far, so good. Everybody 2, 3 wide as they work their way around into turn number 2. As everybody trying to sort themselves out early on, it's going to be Malloy, your leader so far, as he's trying to convert a pole into a win early on with 12. Still got 12 laps to go, but either way, everything nice and smooth as still side-by-side action there for position. Your leader's starting to get away from those near the back. Look at the little jump there that Malloy took coming around the corners here as Wonderly trying to work his way up through the field as well. As you work your way through the 8, 9, 10 complex, single file for the time being. Nobody getting a little dicey except near the back of the pack. And that's going to happen there. I think that's going to be James Scarcello sitting back there in further back of the field. She most likely had that pit lane start as they work now through turn number 12. And there, I love this shot going through 13. You can kind of see the drivers taking the different lines around that 10-degree bank turn. And it's absolutely fantastic as our first lap is complete. To Phil Tao leading Vivek Hazari and Bear Salehi 1, 2, 3. So the battle for GT5 has a spec 2.7 in the middle of that group. And John Momeyer sitting back there in fourth place as the field working their way around the turn 16, 17 complex. That's a spec boxer field. And you are seeing Maidmet working his way up as well. I think that he is, he's still 15th overall, but a little bit further back than we normally see. That number 705 as Nick Malloy gets the fastest lap of the race thus far. Murray Wonderly, though, knocking at the door of the lead so far with Rob Walker not too far away. So 1, 2, 3, it's a 461, 614, and 53 in spec boxer. You're on board with the driver, the number 53, Rob Walker. And you see how Wonderly run a little bit higher line as they're working their way right now into turn number 6. Now through 7, we'll have about 1,000 feet to get through that 8, 9, 10 complex. I want to hang here because this, look in the upper left, you kind of see where Rob Walker is under the timing tower. Let's see how these drivers all kind of attack this corner. And Murray looks like that he doesn't touch that first apex or the third apex too much, but really attacks that second one. Now the run uphill to turn number 11 commences. Looks like that's where Rob Walker's losing his time right there a little bit as he kind of has to scrum off a little bit more speed through 13 than what he's absolutely used to. A little bit of a wiggle out of Wonderly, though, as they come into turn number 14. Everybody single file so far as you got a battle for position near the back of the pack. Our one car tried to go around the outside there through 14 and believe that was the Brandemeyer, Kovac, Alex Maslow battle sitting back there. It's for 17th overall. Rob Walker gets the fastest lap of the race so far. Indeed, it was the Kovac Maslow battle we were watching. Everly not too far away, sitting back there in wait for those two. But Murray Wonderly getting the fastest lap of the race with a 2-minute .523. Maslow making his way through the field. You'll see updates at the bottom part of your screen as well. That's something new that we have this weekend. You're seeing drivers making their way up and around the field so far with 10 laps to go. These laps are going to go pretty quick with about 2 minutes in between each of these races. You see the 170 there. Closing in on Damon Yazdi, almost neck and neck at the line. Actually, I think, yeah, neck and neck at the line. Let's see what happens. There's Maidment. Of course, you're still watching the Kovac Maslow battle that is behind Maidment as well, in a tight battle for second place. Up ahead, you see Rob Walker going deep to the inside for second place. He's side by side already with Murray Wonderly, and he's going to get that position. So far, Wonderly, you see back there in the mirror, kind of tucked in right there. So now Walker has his sights set on Nick Malloy, who is your leader. He was your pole sitter as well. Malloy trying to do what he can to see if he can get a win on the season. The 461, only with a 5th place so far. 2 DNSs, the first and third race at Spring Mountain. Wasn't able to compete here this last time out at Buttonwillow, so trying to kind of claw back in that number 461 1998 Boxster. Top 5, kind of single file through there. You got to go back just a little bit for great battle for Kiefer Carnevale and Draymond as well. That is for 10th overall. Let's see how close they are. Yeah, Kiefer Carnevale and Draymond right there. You see them come around as it looks like Carnevale has gotten around Kiefer for position, but how long will that last? You saw that pass there on the straightaway, and Carnevale falling back just a little bit, actually, as Kiefer was able to get back around for 10th overall. So let's see how they work their way through the switchback over here at the 8, 9, and 10, and no change for the most part, but Rob Walker has indeed closed in on Nick Malloy. Let's see if we can get on board with Walker to see how his attack's going to go through here. They've got to go down through 11 and 12 and set themselves up for 13. Walker finally found that line last time by, was able to get around Wonderly. He's lost Wonderly for a little bit, but it looks like so far Malloy able to get around. He closes in on Malloy through 13, going to try and take a little bit of a higher line. That's going to slow him down just a tick. Of course, Walker, no stranger to tight battles in any kind of spec racing. Formerly a Porsche Sprint Challenge in the GT3 class, and then making his way over to the Porsche Carrera Cup North America, as that is such a tight battle there for the lead. Across the line, it was 9/10 of a second. I think that gap's going to be cut in half this next time by when they come around, as they work their way through 16 and a 17. It's still, for the time being, Malloy over Walker. Let's see what the gap is, and it is about 0.2 of a second. So yeah, Walker running his fastest laps of the race. He is the only driver thus far in the 1 minute range. 59.986 out of the number 53s. He takes Herbie, trying to take Herbie all the way to the top. Now watching through turn number 4, slight banking there, and they're going to come into some slower traffic up ahead. I think that's going to be Bear Salehi once again falling back just a little bit, as field working around once again. Such a good battle here One gives, one takes, the other gives, the other takes. And Walker now closing in on your race leader. He's going to look to the inside, but still too far away to make anything happen through the 8, 9, 10 complex, as he's just going to really reel him in over here. God, this is such a fantastic battle between the two of them as they go down the straightaway towards turn number 11. Who's it going to be coming into 11? As you see another great battle near the back. We'll get on that in a second, but it's still a close battle, and they have caught on to Bear Salehi. Salehi's got to watch his mirrors and see two boxers coming up on him real quick, and Walker's going to try and split the difference. Oh, don't go three wide. Smart move out of Walker, as he was almost the meat in that sandwich, and that could have been real nasty as they both get around Salehi, and John Momeyer has pulled off the course. So Momeyer is off the circuit right now, not sure exactly where he is, but problems for your Spec 2.7 driver, as he is well off the course at this time. Back on board with Walker as they complete another lap. 0.2 of a second separated the two drivers as past time by. As let's see what happens here with your race leader, and that's going to be a 0.2 of a second gap between Malloy and Walker once again, as they are in step with one another. And of course now Salehi falling back through the order, as Wonderly trying to get around, as well as Basin. So still plenty of time to go through. There's Wonderly, as he's fallen way back through the order as well in the Spec Boxster class. And of course, oh, that's some problems right there for your Spec 2.7 leader. Let's listen in. Weird to see him kind of work and slowly make his way around, but either way, still leading to 2 point. Actually, no, yeah, Vivek still leading the Spec 2.7 class for the time being. A little dust kicked up there, but we go back to the lead in Spec Boxster, or Malloy and Walker still going toe to toe, as looks like Wonderly and Basin are in some battles here as well. That's for the bottom step of the podium. Basin has that for the time being in the 457. So you got a battle for first, battle for third in Spec Boxster, as you see Wonderly look to the inside, not going to make it happen through turn number 14, and now he's got to set himself up for another run down the front straightaway. But this is great, because you see the two battles really stretching out here. Not too far away, you've got Killarney sitting back there in the 227. Let's see if he can get up there and battle these two. It's going to be very, very close for that bottom step of the podium. Of course, behind that, you've got Carnivale and Draymond with a tight battle as well. So everybody having somebody to race for. Here goes Walker to the inside through turn number 3. As Malloy's going to shut the front door on him around there. So give Malloy the point for the time being at the line. 1/10 of a second separated first and second in class. Six laps down, 6 laps to go, and this is the sight that Rob Walker wanted before he gets up to the lead, trying to catch up to Malloy. Right now, Malloy wants to do something better than a 5th place finish. I'd say right now he's got that better than 5th place finish, as they are working their way through the 8, 9, 10 complex. Again, a little bit of a slowdown out of Malloy. That's exactly what Walker needed, and that was a little slide through the apex of 9. Reel each other in now down the straightaway, 1,000 feet to turn 11, 1330, I should say. That's about a quarter mile, as Walker's going to look to the inside, and Malloy's going to try and shut the door. I'm going to be too little too late. Here comes Walker. He takes the lead in Spec Boxster. Now he opens up that gap by just a couple. The car lengths takes a higher approach to turn 13. Either way, he's able to get back going as the battle for third kind of dies off just a little bit, but it welcomes up Killarney into the package. So the 2-car battle for third now quickly turns into a 3-car battle for third between Basin, Wonderly, and Killarney as they come around turn number 14 now through 15. And of course, Wonderly, who started at the front of the pack, slowly falling his way through. But then again, when you've got fast drivers like this, it's a little bit easier to kind of swallow, because the talent pool here in Spec Boxster is pretty well. As now you see Walker trying to close in on one of the slower cars right there. I think that's going to be Randy Bergrum. No, it's not going to be Bergram. That's going to be either way. We'll get that for you here in just a little bit. Wonderly now closing in on Basin as they work their way around turn number 4. And now you start to see the Spec Boxers make their way around the slower traffic. When can we expect Wonderly and crew to catch up to them? Pretty soon. Basin trying to do all he can, though, to keep Wonderly behind him, and that's going to be easier said than done, especially when they work their way through turn number 7. Wonderly pokes a nose to the inside. That's not going to be the place to be, because you're going to have to get to the inside there on turn number 8 if you want anything to happen. As you see so far, there's your top 2 in Spec Boxster. There's a 944, and yeah, Wonderly falling back just a little bit. Oh, so yeah, that is Bergram in GT7, as one of the Boxers puts a wheel off and kicks up a little bit of dust around turn number 10. But so far, so good through 11 and now into 12. Here comes, let's see, yeah, it's still going to be no change there in that battle for third place. By the way, if you're trying to keep track of Phil Town, he's got a 32-second lead, so he's long gone. He's already headed to the Coachella today, so we'll see him end this race well out in front in GT5. Still watching this battle, though, for Spec Boxster third place, as you see Carnivale opening up a bigger gap over Draymond, but these 3 right here have just found each other, and they're basically stuck like glue to one another down the front straightaway. Once again, 4 laps to go as the race rages on. You see Klaus Draymond holding off Ryan Moore. That's for 8th place in class. 8th place overall, 7th class. That's going to be a tight battle there, but let's see what Wonderly can do to the 457 as he's all over the back of that car. Once again, coming off of turn number 3, let's see how they look through turn number 4. And it's still Wonderly trying to go high, wide, and handsome. Not going to be able to do it, as Basin really looking pretty good so far through that corner into turn number 5. You see him open up about a 1-car length gap, and that is pretty easy to do here through that 4-5 complex. You take a look, 2 and 3, you can see is one turn, 4, 5, 6, 7. And now as you work your way through the 8, 9, 10 complex, that's where things get a little sketchy, because if you hit the turn 9 apex just a little more than you really need to, it's going to make life a little difficult for you, and we've lost a car. Yeah, Wonderly's fallen off. Wonderly right there coming around turn number 10. For the lead in the Spec Boxster also heats up. You saw earlier Malloy opening up that gap. Something happened to Wonderly, and we'll find out here in just a little bit. We got to go back to Rob Walker, though, as he is going to have to fight off a hard-charging Nick Malloy. You see back there that black Boxster is just getting bigger and bigger in his rearview mirror. Is last time by, half second separated the 53 from the 461, I should say. A little bit of a wiggle there. That's not going to help Walker at all. 3 laps to go. So right now, Walker has to do all he can to not only save the tires, but save that lead, as he's trying his best to stay out in front of Malloy. Well, turn 3 is the place to be right now as you're watching so many battles. And of course, we saw Wonderly. He's lost 2 spots. He's behind Chad Carnevale. So something happened there. You see Wonderly enter into the picture right about now. So let's see how this plays out here in the closing lap. See if he can at least catch up to Carnevale. But I don't know if that's going to happen. Malloy has lost a little bit of ground to Rob Walker. And Walker might have a little bit of defensive play here in the final couple of laps, as now you also see Killarney closing in on Basin for third place in class. So it's all still to play for. The podium's not set fully in Spec Boxster. This is where things are going to get a little interesting, because now you got to balance keeping your tires fresh for the final 2 races of the weekend. Or do you want to get up higher in that spot as Walker goes just a little bit high through turn number 12 and still keeps the same gap that he does back to Malloy, as Malloy setting up for another charge, this time around turn 14 and into 15 to work their way around once again. Of course, a lot of you fans in the chat, thanks for joining us. And if any questions you have, please feel free to chime in at some point. Once the action kind of dies down, if it ever dies down, that is, I'll kind of look over and give you an answer. What I can right now is 2 laps to go. Rob Walker has just 2 laps, about 5 miles to kind of play defense here, as Nick Malloy trying to do all he can to get back into the lead. Chris Basin, though, doesn't have to worry about Killarney too much, as Killarney is down to 1.6 seconds off of your third place driver. And we'll watch him through turn 3 right now. There is Basin. And really, the time, yeah, I could see that. Both of those drivers running just a little bit at the same time. Wonderly tried to chase down Carnevale, but Carnevale is about 4 seconds ahead there. And watch these cars off turn 10. It's absolutely fantastic. So through turn number 8 now, Walker's going to have to deal with some lap traffic here within his own class, to say the least. Right now, that is, I think that's Damon Yazdi, as he works his way off of turn number 10. Of course, there's the battle for the bottom step of the podium as well. They get around Yazdi with ease, but now it's Malloy's turn to see if he can mount a charge over Rob Walker through turn number 10. He knows that he likes to slide up, so that's going to give Malloy a chance to kind of sneak his way in there, but Walker able to get his way around as the white flag comes out for your leader, Phil Town. It's a final lap, as he is the second driver to get into the 1 minute range, minute 59.916. So Town trying to save the best for last, but this battle for the lead is going to go down to the wire as they come off of turn number 15, set up for turn number 16. It's still Walker over Malloy. Last time by 0.6 of a second. It might be a little closer. It's about 2 to 3 car lengths as you see the white flag down there by the starter. 1 lap to go. 0.6 of a second last time by, and it's about the same this time. Actually, no, half a second. So he's gained a 1/10 of a second, but that's not going to be enough, especially if he wants to get to the point. And we all know how hard it is to get around Rob Walker. He's got 2 firsts and a DNS. So last time out, and here comes Malloy as he's all over the back of Walker going into turn number 4. As they take the left-hander, he leaves just a little bit of room open, but you see the kind of line that he takes, and you've got another lap-down car that's going to be in pursuit here. So now Walker has to decide, does he follow the lap-down car? Does he play block? Let's see exactly what happens as they work their way around, and indeed going to let both of those drivers by. So discretion, the better part of valor for Alan Watts in the 225 as they come down off of 7, now into turn 8. You see 3, 2, 1, and the turn in for turn number 8 sets up. There's turn number 9. And that is exactly where Malloy closes in, but it might be too little too late. It depends on if Malloy's going to use a softer brake pedal going into some of these heavy braking zones. Malloy not able to do it He's losing just a little bit of ground to Walker. There you go. There's a couple of other slower cars up ahead, but that's not going to be too much of an issue. And you see Walker opening up that gap. About 7 to 8 car lengths separates Walker from Malloy. But the battle for the third spot still not over, as Killarney is close into Basin for that spot. So while one battle goes away, another comes into play quite nicely. As you see, there's your lead battle right there. Checkered flag is out. Philtown is your winner overall and in GT5, but it's going to be Rob Walker making his way out of turn number 16 and 17. Down for the final time for race 1. He's going to win in Spec Boxer. Nick Malloy is going to get second place. And let's see if we can find our battle for third so far. It's going to, Basin had the advantage, and it's going to be, no, Killarney gets into third place. So Killarney and Carnivale are going to go into battle here down to the line, and Killarney's going to get third, Carnivale fourth, and Basin going to fall all the way back to fifth in Spec Boxster. 16 and 17 for the final time at pace car speed. Everybody nice and bunched up. Early green flag as Monsalve gets a little bit of a jump there, gets the nose out front, and through 1 and 2, it's still Mike Monsalve over Anna Pranescu. Wessling trying to get there in third, but he's going to lose that spot to Dwayne Selby. Let's go back and watch a GT start as that is green, and Paul Barnes getting the early jump over Gaviglio, but Gaviglio able to get that number 70 up front and right ahead of the GT2 of Paul Barnes. So everybody off and away so far. Let's see as everybody starts to get moving. Gildersleeve able to go up one spot over Coral for GT2, and he's going to try and close in on Barnes, which might be easier said than done as they work their way around. You see in the background, that is your 991.2 battle there, as Monsalve, Pranescu, and Wessling 1, 2, 3. Everybody single file for the time being. And it looks like that Gorski knocking at the door of Wessling, as well as Selby sitting back there in third place. Wessling in fourth as they came across, past the line right there. 1, 2, 3. There you go. Nice and tight formation. Salve trying to shake off the 100 there and keep the season perfect so far, but I'll tell you what, Anna's doing a great job catching up, keeping up to that number 87. The Liquid Molly 100 is it's here to play today. We'll see how Anna takes advantage of this wonderful start that she had so far, as she's probably one of the drivers who over the past after the last race was able to keep it up on Monsalve as they come down to the line. Monsalve, Pranescu, Selby, 1, 2, 3. Then that's Wessling, Gorski, and Benade, 4th, 5th, and 6th. 7th goes to Troster as 8th place is now working its way through. Pranescu all over the back there. You see Gorski going side by side for position over Wessling. So Wessling, who started off third, might lose another spot here to Gorski there in that fifth spot. So it's 722 over 122. And of course, the GT class, it's all Gaviglio right now, as Barnes is trying to do all he can to stay at least within a good distance there. There's your battle for the lead, and of course the battle for second place. That battle for third quickly has turned into a battle for second place between Selby, Wessling, Gorski, and now Benade is closing in as well. Still, the gap between first and second is close right there, as you're seeing them two go toe-to-toe, Monsalve and Pranescu, around turn number 14. Now they'll set themselves up for turn number 15. And really, like I said, this is about the only challenge that Monsalve's had all season so far. First throughout the board. And now we'll see if Monsalve can shake off Pranescu, of course, double first at Button Willow. Well, Pranescu basically has Monsalve's number, that number 87, ProAudioLand.com, Monsalve Motorsports Inc. 991.2 usually able to walk away here in the early part of the race, but not so much now. A couple hundredths of a second on the lap time separate Monsalve from Predescu, but that's easier said than done. We see Selby has successfully shook off Wessling and Gorski for the time being, so that's some good news there. But Benatti and Trost are really trying to lock themselves in the battle there. You see Benatti, looks like Troster may have fallen back just a little bit. Let's some more info on that one, but either way, this race really shaping up to be a good one for the 991.2s. Of course, Gaviglio and Barnes, they are close together and not further away than they were. Now you see Anna, speaking of further away, Anna's about a 1 to 2 car lengths further back than she was about a lap ago on Monsalve. Of course, they don't have that extra race today that they have to worry about, much like the Orange Group does. Anna's just going to wait and see if Monsalve is going to make some sort of mistake, but that's a little bit easier said than done as they work their way through bank number 13. And still no change, but I've got to say this, if I'm Greg Gorski, I'm going to make my move on Wessling at some point, sooner rather than later, because you may be coming up to 10 laps to go. You still want to make that move because you don't want to be waiting there for a check that's never going to get cashed. Still so far so good, as there's your GT battle there. You see the Gaviglio making his way through the back of the 991.2 class, and he's going to make easy work of that. I believe that's going to be Ren sitting back, actually Paul Barnes, I should say. It's around Paul Barnes for the overall GT lead, as Barnes is going to lose a little bit of time. Bayan Salehi in his number 15 also works around, so that's going to move Gildersleeve even closer to Barnes here in the next couple of laps. And yeah, Barnes with a 55.4 last time by, 51 double at 5 out of Gaviglio. It was only a matter of time before Brett was going to catch Barnes, and he did it at the line. Almost pretty decisively, but of course you got Bayan Salehi back there, Jim Salzer in the 10. There's Jim right there, and Rich Gildersleeve not too far away. Mark Corral trying to hang on there as well, as he's fallen off a little bit, trying to save those tires for later on. Through turn number 13 they come, and we'll get the distance between Monsalve and Predescu. There is the view out of Gaviglio as he works his way out of turn number 15, and now we'll set up for the right-hander at turn 16. A little bit of a glare, no harm, no foul, but you get to see the switchback that we have here between 16 and 17. Of course, you see the cones signifying the start of the blend line for pit road. Come off that final corner at speed and down that front straightaway. Another lap in the books. By the way, 0.8 of a second separate Monsalve from Predescu. So while Anna's close, she's not close enough to try and make any sort of challenge. And I don't see Selby closing in either, because both Monsalve and Predescu are both opening up a gap between the second and third place drivers. Garrett Wessling and Gorski are also closing in on Selby. The 4-second gap between Gildersleeve, as you see on the bottom part of your screen, and Paul Barnes. So Barnes is really fallen back big time as he crosses the line. And oh, there's a spinner there. That's the 22 with 23 with the spin. That's Mike Williams. So I missed that on the onboards of the 20. So Williams, who's actually in his first wheel-to-wheel race this season, trying to make something happen to that. He swept the Spring Mountain weekend, the first weekend of the year in the Spec 991.2 time trial class. So a bit of a rough go there for the driver who is making his first start this season. Here comes Bradescu coming off of the final turn and trying her best to close in. And let's see what this gap is between Wesseling and Gorski. Gorski trying to go just a little bit wide. He's trying everything that he can to get around Wesseling. Of course, Gorski knows what it's like to try and get around a thorn in the side of a competitor. Obviously racing in Oracle Cup North America over these years, also running the 24-hour series in Europe, so he knows what he's doing. As we have a little bit of dust getting kicked up through the corner, but no harm and no foul. I'm not seeing anything too worrisome right now. Benade moving up through the field as well as Benade and Troster, both running some fast laps last time by. And here comes Paul Barnes. Sounds like we might have had a little bit of a contact there between the 7th and 8th place drivers. So that would have been Troster and Benade, I should say. So we'll keep an eye on things. This battle for 3rd place really heats up between Selby Wesseling, and Gorski. Let's see, the timing is doing timing things, showing that Dale Troster is the fastest driver of the 43-second lap. I want to see that happen. Either way, you see Salehi. Salehi's caught up to Gaviglio. That's something you don't normally hear, as Gaviglio trying his best to get into the to get to the top of the GT3 podium. That's going to be an interesting race here in the next couple laps if Salehi can make something happen. But Selby holding off Wesseling and Gorski. Gorski trying every move that he can to get up there and try and battle for the lead. Meanwhile, Monsalve opened up a bigger gap between he and Bradescu this past time by. And I just absolutely love trying to see the racecraft of Gorski to make something happen here in turn number 2. Not going to make it happen, but still has plenty of time to come around and see if he can get something happening. Salehi's 0.2 of a second. Let's hang here. I want to try and find. Let's hang on this camera. I want to try and see how close Salehi is to Gaviglio as they come around here. So there's your battle for the lead. There's your battle for third place, I should say, on the podium between Selby, Wesseling, Gorski, and Benade. So that battle's fine. Let's keep it here real quick, because I really want to see this battle for GT3 between Gaviglio and Salehi. They should be coming by at any minute with the 70 and the 15. There they are, and it's close. It's about a car length, maybe less, between Benade and Gaviglio. He's really knocking at the door here of GT3. This is Salehi's second weekend. He finished 4th both times out at Spring Mountain. So we'll see what Bayan Salehi can do. He's been started karting for 10 years and then jumped right into POC. He knows what he's doing. He learned to race in a 73 911. So think about that for a second. That's some talent right there to get that through there. And he calls this current car basically a cup car with a street engine and transmission. And he's really all over the back of Gaviglio as they work their way through 16 and 17. Who's going to be up front? It's still going to be Gaviglio for the time being, as still Salehi really making life difficult for your GT3 leader coming through turn number 1, now into 2. Look at how close they are. And Leahy just trying his best to get around your GT3 leader Gaviglio. Easier said than done. It's Leahy going to try a tighter line through the 4-5 complex, and that's going to close him in just ever so slightly. I don't know how slightly that is going to close in your GT3 leader, as you see Salzer near the back of the pack as well. And the battle for GT2 between Paul Barnes and Rich Gildersleeve. So Gildersleeve could come away with a great showing here in his first weekend with wheel-to-wheel racing. Oh, that could have been nasty for Gaviglio. It's very rare we see him have to defend for any kind of position, and that kind of showed just a little bit. Let's take a look at Gildersleeve and Barnes as they work their way into turn number 8. It's about less than a car length between the two of them as they work their way around the 8, 9, 10 complex. And once again, Barnes trying to use more of a defensive line coming out of turn number 9 to stave off any pass that Gildersleeve has on him right now. We've got 3 really good battles, which, by the way, no change in the 991.2 battle either between Selby, Wessling, and Gorski. As here comes Benatti. He's really, Salehi all over the back of Gaviglio as they are going side by side, almost to turn number 16. Oh, man, you don't see that too often with Gaviglio, barely leaving that door open for Salehi to make some sort of move. As Salehi sitting in second place, he smells the fact that he might be able to close in. He was actually run about the same lap time, just about a 500th of a second separate them on the track. 5 laps to go, so still plenty of time for Salehi to try something on Gaviglio, trying to see the distance between Gildersleeve and Barnes, 0.3 of a second through as these two are working their way through the 4-5 complex. And if I'm Salehi, I'm going to try and find a good place to make a good pass. Might be turn number 11. There's your GT2 battle between Barnes and Gildersleeve as they're coming around turn 3. Now they'll work their way through turn 4 and into turn number 5. But this is the GT3 battle, bouncing between the two battles for the lead, as you see Gaviglio trying to make any sort of defense over Salehi. Now here's your GT3 battle, and it might be a little bigger. No, that was Salzer who came by. Let's see how close it is between Barnes and Gildersleeve. Through turn number 10, a little bit bigger, but not too much. Still enough for Gildersleeve to try and, save some equipment and get up there and make some hay while the sun is shining. And we got a spinner ski with a spin off of turn number 17. So he is no longer part of this battle between Selby and Wessling, although Benatti is going to be able to close in just a little bit as well. So Gorski across the line. He lost a lot of time as Troster comes just behind him. Let's see where the GT3 battle is between Gaviglio and Salehi. Not as close as we've seen it, but with 4 laps to go, it's still anybody's race for GT3. 0.2 of a second separate the two drivers. It's the first time in a while we've seen Salehi just about a couple tenths slower than Gaviglio coming around turn number 1, now setting up for turn number 3. You see that right-hander, it beckons as I'm wondering if Salehi's just deciding to back off a little bit, save the tires for tomorrow, and let Gaviglio run them just a little bit more ragged. By the way, Williams is just coming across the line here. Unless something magic happens, he will be a 14th and the 8th in the 991.2, but still not a bad showing for him to at least get out there. That's half the battle right there as they work their way around once again. Here's out of the front of Gaviglio as he's working his way through the second part of the track, now going through turn number 12, setting up for turn number 13. Once again, appreciate all the help and all the banter on the chat here on the YouTube stream. Don't forget, we'll be doing this again tomorrow. We'll have more on that after the races. Either way, it's still A tight race for the GT3 lead between Gaviglio and Salehi. I don't think Salehi's done with Gaviglio yet. It looks like that he probably has backed off, let the tires cool off a little bit, and tried for another run 3 laps ago when they crossed the line. And indeed, Salehi's got that fishing pole out, trying to reel in Gaviglio. 0.2 of a second separate the two cars. This time he was 1/10 of a second faster, Salehi was, over Gaviglio. As we're watching that battle, the battle for the lead in GT2, and I think that the battle for third kind of cooled off in Spec 991 point. This is a very tight battle here for position in, you see right there, and oh, that's a big mistake out of Gildersleeve. He kind of came in the corner a little too hot and lost a lot of ground, half a second last time by. This time by for the 6:36.307 battle. It's going to be over that, and timing hasn't recycled itself, but yeah, you can see that Gildersleeve is doing his best to kind of keep up with Barnes, not able to do so. Let's see if we can go back to the battle for lead in GT3 between Gaviglio and Salehi. I am looking for his best race of the season so far, as they're working their way around turn 11 and 12 once again. 13 beckons for the GT2 battle. A little bit of skippage, but nothing too dangerous there. Work their way out of turn number 13, set up for the left-hander at turn number 14. And I think that this battle's cooked as well. 2 laps to go, by the way, as Monsalve crosses the line 1.6 seconds ahead of Anna Predescu, as she tried her best, but you know what? I think she's going to be able to come home with a pretty decent finish there in the number 100. Actually, this is going to be white flag. So while we were set to run 13 laps, we're going to take the white flag here at lap 11. Working lap 12. Instead of 13 laps, looks like we'll get 12 laps in. Okay, so we'll see what happens here with these battles for the races, and I think that everybody's kind of just a little gassed, as yeah, Gildersleeve 0.9 of a second last time by across the line behind Barnes. I think that where you're finishing now is probably going to be a little bit of a preview as Gildersleeve closes in just a little bit. Oh, does Anna have anything to answer for Monsalve here in the closing corners? Well, we'll see as Monsalve comes around turn number 14 and 15. Gonna hold off until I see the starter with the checker flag out, but yeah, saw the white flag wave for Brett Gaviglio as they come down to the stripe. Yeah, checkered flag is out. Mike Monsalve wins over Anna Predescu in Spec 991.2, as Dwayne Selby most likely will be able to hold off Garrett Wessling and Ebba Benade as they work their way around. And yeah, that's exactly how it's going to be for the time being, as Selby will come across the line, finish on the bottom step of the podium for Spec 991.2. There's Greg Gorski after that spin. Unfortunately, we'll finish off in 6th place. Joe Troster in 7th. Let's see what happens here for the GT3 lead between Gaviglio and Salehi. And Gaviglio found that extra gear, opens up a bigger gap, and he's going to win in GT3 by Salehi, finishing off in 2nd place. Jim Salzer will come across the line in 3rd. And of course, also you got Paul Barnes, who was leading Rich Gildersleeve last time by. There's Salzer. And there's Barnes and Gildersleeve. And unless Gildersleeve has something up his sleeve, he's going to finish off his first race this season in 2nd place. So not a bad showing out of the Cayman driver, as he will come across. They'll come across the line. GT2 winner right there. Paul Barnes over Rich Gildersleeve. Mark Corral, who's coming across the line right about now. You'll see him right there. And James Williams will finish off his first race in the Spec 991.2. Here's your Spec 2.7 and the rest of the Spec Boxer class as they are coming down for the start. Oh, a little bit of a jump there as one of the cars falls back just a little bit. I think that was Wonderly with a little bit of an issue there. And we have one very slow Boxster to the back. We'll find out what happened here in just a little while. But either way, it looks like Killarney has made his way up to the front. And indeed, he has. Killarney was up there, and dare I say, Draymond with a great jump as well. Now, Draymond sitting back there in second place, and then you got Wonderly who's in third. So an interesting start there for the Spec Boxsters, as it looks like somebody probably missed a shift and then just started. That's what caused everything. I'm not sure who that is who's slow off the line, but somebody was very, very slow off the line. As you see Ilani opening up a massive gap on second place in class. And we're still looking pretty green as everybody single file through the 8, 9, 10 complex and now through 11 and 12. Wonderly holding off base and right now for position. I think Carnivale's also in contention there. So you've got Killarney way up to the front, and then you've got Wonderly on back. That's a battle for Draymond on back. That's a battle for position as Draymond loses 2 spots, goes a little high through turn number 14. Not sure what happened there. Not refused. A little too hot under the collar. That's going to move Wonderly back into second place. Lost 3 spots, Draymond did, so I think he's back to where he initially started on the grid. And yeah, he did, because Carnivale got around him, so he lost more than that. He lost actually 3 spots. Just that one little hiccup in turn number 7, that kind of did it, set the tone for him, as the rest of the field making their way around single file. So you got a tight battle for second place in class. Then you got a little bit of a gap to Siegel, who's got a great position, by the way, 9th overall and 6th in class. Then Moore is holding off Krylo and Maidment for position. So much to play for here as Maidment finally into that top 10 in class. You see Jane Scarcello trying to make her way up through the field. She sits currently 25th overall, but she is leading GT7. She's got Ray, and Yazzie between her and Bergram, who he's fallen off big time. So I think that's one of the cars that's having some issues here, is Bergram, as Briganti and Malloy have yet to cross the start-finish line, so I think they may be out of the race. So we've gone from 30 cars all the way over to 28. And looking back at last race also, Rob Walker did the same thing. Won race 1, did not start race number 2, so he's probably going to have fresher tires than the rest of the field for race number 3. If you really think about it, that's a pretty smart proposition there. Oh, a little bit of a bump there, and that's going to be a spin out of Carnivale, as he's going to back it towards pit road as he's trying to go to the inside of Basin, and Basin able to keep that position. So right now, Basin sitting off in 3rd place, and Draymond not in a good position, waiting to see if he gets going. Waiting for other traffic. Is a little bit of contact there between Karen Robinson and Jane Scarcello, as there is, man, talk about a drop right there. Huge drop out of Carnivale, who had a good showing last time out as well. So he'll fall to darn near last in the pack. He finished 4th earlier on today. That's going to bring a lot of fast cars up to the front as well. As you see Seagull, Moore, Krylo, and Maidment, they're all up there battling for position. And Killarney's not going to have much longer until he's got to start defending between Wonderly and Basin. Now, they've really closed in a little bit. There's a big gap back there to Draymond. And then you've got Seagull, Moore, Krylo, Maidment. They're all sitting there. It's almost like the cork in the bottle scenario for that battle for sixth on back. Oh, sorry, fifth on back. There's your top three, as you saw exiting turn number 13. There's fourth. Of course, this is just going to get tighter and tighter. 9 laps to go. These races, very definition of sprint races, because you really got to make sure that you lay your claim to where you want to be here in throughout the race. There's no little sitting back and waiting. If you want to make that move, you make it, and you make it quick. As they work their way around turn number 16 and into 17. Once again, by the way, Phil Town, we're 3 laps into this race, and he's got an 18-second lead over Bear Salehi. So 2 GT5 cars are 18 seconds apart. This is not what Salehi wanted, but either way, this battle for position between Killarney and Wonderly and Basin still heating up. Oh, that's not good. You've got Ryan Moore with some issues coming off the final corner. Not sure if he missed a shift or what exactly happened there, but he was very slow on that straightaway, and he's still slow. So looks like Mike has some issues, and you don't want to have them right by pitted, because that's not good for the 917 of Moore, 8th place, and that's not a good. And he's definitely not going to have a good showing there. And you see Moore pulling off in between 2 and 3 drivers right. So his race basically is over for that car. That battle for the lead in Spec Boxster still continuing. And, I said, yeah, you got to lay your claim to the spot. But, at the same time, there's still plenty of time, plenty of opportunity for somebody to make a move here, as you see Krylo holding off Maidment for the 6th position right there, and everything's just closing in on Killarney as he tries his best to stay in the lead. But Wonderly, if there's one person you don't want behind you, it's that Tiger of Wonderly sitting back there. And of course, it's interesting to see Basin use kind of a higher line going through 13, but hey, if it works for him, it works for him. You can get a higher advantage out there. A little bit of dust being picked up over to the right, so that'll be right around turn 4 if we had some sort of incident. But either way, no harm, no foul for these drivers. As Maidment tries to look to the inside there, he almost gets there alongside Krylo, but Krylo going to keep that position for the time being. Let's see how they work their way now. Krylo's opened up a big gap that's given Maslov a chance to close in on Maidment as well. Valley has not has pitted earlier. Got another car coming into the pits. That looks like it's going to be Branimir Kovac who's falling through. So Kovac might be ending his race a little early as well. So a couple of DNS here as we start early on in this race. I don't think we've seen Alan Watts at all. So Watts with some issues through as well. So 2 non-starters. We've already had a couple cars in the pits. Briganti did not start. We did see, I think we saw Malloy as well, but Carnivale having issues. Bergram, not sure if he's having issues or just might be still coming around the track. But either way, Ryan Moore's pulled off the course. So we've had our fair share of drivers who have had some issues in the second race. Not so much for this lead 3, as they still nose to tail coming off the 8, 9, 10 complex. And they're really starting to gap the Klaus Draymond, who's coming around turn 9 right now. Mar also having some issues. So just the problems here in the second race are they just keep mounting, as you see the Spec Boxster class trying to catch up to Hazari right there. They're not too far away. They are lurking ever so slightly, because really, why should Hazari have to push? None of his drivers are out there. Really, they're not out there. So Hazari, all he has to do is just see the checker flag, and that's going to race over for him. 7 laps to go when they cross the line this time by. But I've got to say this: if you're Killarney, Wonderly, or Basin, you really want to make sure these 7 laps fly by fast. Well, if you're Killarney, the other two on the fly by slow, so they can find their way around the leader. Of course, all these drivers making their way around for 7 laps to go. But yep, there goes Hazari. He's dipping low, letting the leaders for Spec Boxster come around him. Make their way around Hazari through turn number 5. Maslov making his way into the top 5. You see for the bottom part of your screen there in the Spec Boxster class. I think Mathin right now, Maslov be 8th in class, as he is 11th overall right now. But man, this is a nice little calculated battle between Killarney, Wonderly, and Basin. 1, 2, 3 in class. As Branimir Kovac also off the circuit. Saw the grayed out name there. Oh, that's a little spin right there, right in front of our camera with Basin. Talk about some sort of save, as he's only going to lose 1 overall position. There's another car that's off. Not sure that's. Oh, so we're hearing that could be Wonderly that's off course as well. So possible contact there. We saw the 682 of John Krylo, who has slid off course. So a little bit of a mess there at the 11-12 complex. Let's see Wonderly get back onto the circuit. So the battle for the lead. If I'm Killarney, I'm absolutely breathing a huge sigh of relief, because now I know that my competitors are basically not only far away from me, but they're practically out of the race. And let's see here, as it's a very slow roll from Wonderly as he's rolling off the back of that corner station right there, and there he is. That's a dirty car. Is Wonderly? Oh, there's some contact there. So he did have some contact there with another car. Basin was the other car that was involved. Not sure who that was, but we'll find out here shortly. So the battle for the lead, basically, it's done. It's done here in Spec Boxster with Killarney about 9 seconds ahead of Draymond. So how it just goes to show you how quickly battles like this will change unofficially. There's Karen Robinson back there holding off Mike Porteous. That's for position. I believe that's going to be 15th in class. We're hearing reports as reports of another car stopped somewhere around the circle. We'll see what we can find on the cameras. But yeah, you've got the 917 Ryan Moore still sitting there inside of turn number 3. We saw Bob Chang coming through, and there's going to be Beauchard, Adaman. There goes Jane Scarcello, as trying to see where we can find a close battle. You've got the Robinson Porteous battle. Of course, here's the battle for second place now between Draymond and Basin. Basin, you saw he was looking right at our camera, as there goes a safety vehicle back door to try and see what we can see here, as Maslov trying to hold off Eberly as well. That's for class position. 917 Ryan Moore still sitting there inside of turn number 3. You've got the 917 Ryan Moore still sitting there inside of turn number 3. As Maslov trying to hold off Eberly as well. That's for class position. 917 Ryan Moore still sitting there inside of turn number 3. That's for class position. 9/10 of a second separate Draymond from Basin. Maslow and Eberly still in a tight battle there. That's for 5th in class. Let's just call it 6th in class because you got the 2 GT5s and, of course, Vivek falling back into 14th overall. So only 2 cars really are in position there. It's Bear Salehi about a second ahead of Klaus Draymond, but you're still seeing that battle for 2nd in class between Draymond and Basin. Gene Siegel up for a good showing as well, that number 302. It's a late entrant on my sheet here. As you see Kilwani trying to put his own lap down on the 713 of Randy Bergram out of the race. So far, Wonderly went into the pits. Kovac, Moore, Marr, Carnevale, all out of the race. Briganti and Malloy have not finished, didn't even start the race. Steven Peterson coming in after not starting race number 1. So we've got 23 cars here on the field is now. And we see Salehi trying to hold on to position, but he's 10 seconds slower than these guys. As Salehi decides to take the high road over turn number 13 and those faster boxers by. Right there's Maslow, there's Eberly going around, and you've got Larry Haas sitting back there in the 228, who needs to close in, and Krylo not too far away either, but still. Just a little pass there. And as Larry Haas makes his way around, 4 laps to go, by the way, and Viltown with almost a minute lead over Nick Kilwani, who sits in 2nd place. And now you're seeing Draymond closing in on gapping Seigel, who's, by the way, now in 3rd. Maidment up to 4th already. Would not be surprised to see him try and make a battle for that position. I think he hasn't done that yet, as Maslov and Eberly sitting back there as well. As you see, there goes the 47. Just trying to do all he can to keep the cars around him. Problems over there at turn number 8. That looks like that's Benade. Oh, Abin Benade. It's not Benade. That looks like that is Vivek. Sorry, Vivek Hazari in the 2.7 over there in turn number 9. And indeed it is. So unless he can get this car going, that's going to be all 3 Spec 2.7s will not finish this race. And you see right there, the upper part of your screen, right by the drive skills, he's trying his best to get started. I don't know if he's going to be able to do it. No, some more dust getting picked up. You don't want to drop a wheel, especially going into turn number 13. So a lot of competitors already out of this race. Now we have 22 left out there on the circuit. So what can you do is there's a truck running on the driver's right through there, coming off of turn number 14 through 15. We'll see that truck come by. I do believe it's going to be one of the safety vehicles, and indeed they work their way around right now. Three laps to go as we're still seeing a battle for position. This is the Maslov-Eberly battle, and Eberly's kind of fallen back just a little bit. This is for 5th in class right now, as Maslov has it, Eberly wants it, but Maymet has fallen back off of Gene Seigel as he's closing in on Klaus Draymond this time. So cool. This is a great battle here, as you are seeing Seigel close in there, the 302. There's Maidment. And I'm sure this is the race that Maidment wanted. You know, granted, a lot of his passes have been due to attrition, but it's better to at least move up than not move up at all when your competitors are having bad days. And safety crew is going to have to take some time to get all these stranded cars out there. There's at least 2 that I know of. I'm hearing there might be a 3rd out there as well. So rough second half of the day for a lot of these drivers. Maybe not going to have to hold off some competition here in just a little bit. As you saw there, that Seigel closing in on Draymond, trying to get that second place in class. So a great showing out of the number 302. We are still green with 2 laps to go. Phil Town holding a commanding lead over Nick Hillani, which that's an out-of-class battle, but either way, that Cayman is looking oh so fast here as the field working their way around turn number 12, now into 13 for the most part. Hillani holding on to a 7-second lead. Here comes Seigel to the inside, and they're going to get that second position. So move the 302 ahead of the 409 as Draymond falling off just a little bit, but Seigel, what a great move that he made there going into turn number 14. However, Draymond's not done yet as he tries to close in on the 302, headed down the front straightaway once again for the penultimate time, and they'll come through turn number 1 and into 2. Still nose to tail, but Seigel going to open up a bigger lead over Draymond as they all kind of take it a little easy with the safety vehicle still attending to the 917 of Ryan Moore, who pulled off earlier on in the race with a little bit of difficulties. Hopefully we'll see these cars out that had the issues throughout the race, but either way, now Draymond trying his attack. You also see Maslov closing in on Maidment. That's for 4th place in class as Maidment doing all he can to try and stay within that top 5. Here's your leader, Nick Hillani, as Phil Town comes down across the line. White flag is out for him, so the field will be coming down and around the circuit for the final lap here in just a little bit. You see the starter on the perch as side-by-side crosses the racetrack. Seigel with that decisive pass going into 14 has actually opened up a big gap there. So still plenty of opportunity for Seigel to open up that gap even further and really cement that second place finish as they both go around the lap car. But now Maidment you see also opening up a bigger gap over Maslov. So Maslov had that one attack and was able to get through. But either way, look at Seigel trying to hold on for his first second this season. Seigel comes down across the line. Again, it's the white flag lap. 1 is the final lap to go. And to make your moves, as you see the 917 has disappeared from the racetrack. I think it's probably back on pit road. So rough showing for that car as they'll work their way around once again for the final time. Seems like the first half of the lap that Maslov is really, really quick. Second half, it's all Maidment around the circuit. Maslov has a little bit of tighter line through 4 and 5 and 1 car off. That is one of our lap down Boxsters. And I think that one is, that's not Kieran Robinson, but either way, it's been a rough go for a lot of these cars as Phil Town comes across the line. Checkered flag is out for him. Kilwani, he's about a half track away right now as goes through the 8, 9, 10 complex for the final time. So this battle for the podium, so far Seigel has it over Draymond, but Maidment and Maslov also kind of want a nice little battle for 4th place. As you also see back there the Krylo Dr. Scarcello battle. I'm sorry, that's the Haas Krylo battle back there as well. There's Haas, there's Krylo sitting back there in 7th and 8th. Around turn number 13, but it's been all Nick Hillani after problems with his leading co-parts And Gene Seigel, really, you've got to hand it to him after a great race there. You see Krylo try to go around the inside of Haas. Does he make the position stick? We'll see in just a couple of seconds as the checkered flag is actually white flag. Apparently it's the white flag. Let's hang with this for a little bit. Let's hang with this for a bit. Let's keep watching this race. As we give it the lap to the we'll figure this out here in just a little bit, because I think I see down there at the start it is indeed the white flag. So 1 lap to go. We'll finish off with 13 laps here as Phil Town will be coming around here shortly. There's Jane Scarcello in her MX-5, and indeed, yeah, Town at speed. He'll come down to the stripe, and he will see the checkered flag. Checkered flag for Phil Town. He is your winner. A couple Cayman's going to come in behind there. Let's see here. There is the 47 Bear Salehi coming around as well, waiting to see where our spec Boxster winner is. There's the 170 coming around. As you see, Bear Salehi coming down. He will take the checkered flag, and I think that gives him the second place in GT5. Karen Robinson, though, still in a tight battle for position as she tries to hold off Alicia Ray, and indeed she's going to do that at the line. Over, let's see, 0.4 of a second separate Robinson from Ray, but there's your lead pack there for the Spec Boxster class as Nick Killarney. Tell you what a great race for him. However, he is slowing down just a little bit. Is Seigel. Gene Seigel, a little bit of a wiggle there out of Killarney. Does he save it? Indeed, he is. Checkered flag is out as the battle for third heats up between Draymond and Maidment. And I think it's going to be Draymond over Maidment there as they cross the line. We've got a spinner already, and that looks like it is Renato Eberle as he takes the spin. He's going to get going once again as the checkered flag there falls on the Spec Boxster class. Oh, let's go down to the start of the race as the 991.2s are slowly making their way around. Green flag is out, and we are set to go underway. As you saw, it's Prodescu and Gorski with the lead. Gorski gets out in front, and Selby and Benade battling for position as they work their way around. Down off of turn number 3, Gorski gets out for, has to defend. There's the GT green flag, and you'll see Brett Caviglio with the lead early on. Let's see how fast he gets up front. Really, it is pretty quick.
Hello, Jeremy. Oh, okay.
So far, so good for the Spec 991.2s as they work their way out of 8, 9, and 10. Down the back straightaway, they'll come at speed. And so far, Greg Gorski opening up a big advantage over Prodescu down into turn number 12, now through 13. And it's waving around right now, but I've got to say this, Benade with a good jump there for the third spot, so he's gotten around Selby for the time being, although these two are going to battle each other tooth and nail through the lead for the bottom part. So they'll work their way out of turns number 16 and 17 for the first time. And we still seeing everything single file for the 991.2s. So yeah, Gorski in the lead, Selby in third place. place. Benade in fourth. Anna sitting back there in second place. And there's your GT lead with Gaviglio sitting up there ahead. Actually, that looks like that is Salehi who's up ahead of Paul Barnes, and they come across the line. Our Carell's fallen back as well. Viglio leads Williams, Salzer, and Gildersleeve. Joe Troster in the 41 sitting back there. So you got Troster, Gaviglio, and Williams, 7, 8, and 9. And now Brodesky trying to close in on Greg Gorski here. You also have a close battle back there between Benatti, Salehi, well deep into the 991.2 field as they cross the line. So we'll see how close he can be if he can keep himself basically ahead of Gaviglio, which is easier said than done. We saw that happen early on in the race yesterday. Man, Brodesky really closing in on Gorski here for that 991.2 lead. We've got a couple of onboards here with Greg Gorski and Abba Benade. We'll see. I'd like to take a look at Benade's onboard here in just a little bit as he's trying to hold off. There we go. That's a good shot. As you see up ahead, that's Wesseling. Of course, he's watching his mirrors as Bayan Salehi's falling down through the field. Wow, James Mike Williams sitting back there 1.1 seconds behind. And you see what Benade's trying to do, closing up on Wesseling. Little bright here, but still you can kind of see right just up ahead, there is the 722 of Wesseling sitting back there. And of course, Salehi still has a couple of cars between he and Gaviglio. So far, so good as we're working our way. This is lap number 2 of 11. Tell you what, Brodesky's actually closing in quite nicely on Gorski. And of course, Wesseling you see closing in on Selby as well. Benade just close as ever for your third place battle here. Mayan Salehi sitting back there. There's the Wesseling battle. And of course, you do see that Benade was able to get around Wesseling around the circuit. So here comes Benade as he closes in on Selby. Down around the final corner, we saw 0.165 seconds separate Brodesky last time by from Gorski. You see them cross the line this time by. Looks like just a little bit bigger. We'll get confirmation from timing and scoring here in just a little bit. But now Selby, Benade, and Wesseling are closing in on that battle for the lead. But you do see that Wesseling is trying to close in on Benade once again for Selby for position, as they're working their way around once again. There's the onboard with Benade as he's trying to keep that 722 behind him. Up ahead, you see the 7 of Selby as well. So they're going down the circuit right now And the battle for first is kind of cooled off just a little bit. Selby, Benade, and Wesseling, 3, 4, 5. You see them working their way around that bank turn 13. Now you have the setup here back there. And Salehi falling back just a little bit as well. Mike Williams in a battle with Daryl Schroester for, I believe that's going to be 6 in class right now. And so far, so good as they work their way around. There you see the gap. Oh, that's dangerous for Salehi, as now Gaviglio, he's got nothing but open track between he and the GT3 leader. Take a look at the lap times, as both of them running about the same lap times. So it's only a matter of time. It's for 9 laps to go for this to really work itself out. As you see that yellow number 15 trying to hold on for, as Mike Williams has gotten around as well. Actually, no, that's not Mike Williams. That is, I believe that's going to be Troster sitting back there. We'll get confirmation once they cross the line this time by. And yeah, just the gap there is absolutely, it's going to close down here shortly unless Gaviglio can find another gap. As Downforce 9, never heard of this track. Thank you for live streaming. This is one of the great tracks out west. And now you see how much he is closing down. Gaviglio is on Salehi. As you see Gildersleeve closing in on Salzer. That's for overall position. Gildersleeve has a pretty decent lead over Paul Barnes in the 6:36 for the time being. Actually, we get out of this timing sort mode, and we'll get you the real time here as you're on board with the 70 of Gaviglio. He's about 5.6 seconds behind Salehi. So Gildersleeve with a healthy lead in actually trying to chase down Paul Barnes, who's in GT2 leader. Barnes leading that gap between Williams and Barnes for 991 and GT2. But Gorski, 0.7 of a second ahead of Perdescu for the lead. There is Salehi. There is... was able to get around Barnes last time by. So now he puts another car between he and Gaviglio. So that's a good thing for Salehi, not so much, and really also for Gildersleeve if he can catch up. But yeah, it might be too much for Gildersleeve to close in on. As you know, Gildersleeve had the lead early, had the pole for GT2. Wasn't able to make something happen here. Evan Benade, your fourth place driver in 991.2, trying to hold off Garrett Wesseling with a pass there. You're on board with him. You see how close that he is, though, to Selby to try and get up to that third spot. And Selby with a great showing so far this race as he's trying to get into that podium position. But this battle for the lead also heating up between Gorski and Perdescu. Both of those drivers running about the same lap times. Anna ran a little bit faster, about 1/10 of a second faster. But man, Wesseling really knocking at the door of Benade in fourth spot, trying to get up one. I have a feeling if Wesley's able to break through on Benade, we're going to see a close battle for third place in a couple laps past that. Watch the battle. You saw the battle for first place. Here's the battle for third. Actually, just poking out there as Gorski's kind of turning up the wick just a little bit. He'll come across the line. It'll be 6 laps into the books. Half a second separated Gorski from Perdescu. How much does it separate this time by? It's going to be a little bit bigger, I think, as now you see Benade try to hold off Wesseling down the front straightaway. Not going to be able to make anything happen through 1 and 2. Wesseling's got to be really desperate to throw it in there, but both of those separated by less than a car length gap. Work around turn number 3. Oh, a little wide there by Benade. Benade making a good run to get around Wesseling, and these two have been battling tooth and nail for fourth place for a good part of the race. There's Troster and Williams. Williams, in spite of being 7th right now in class, finding somebody to race with, which is a great battle here especially in Porsche Owners Club, to see that kind of close battle into turn 8. You see how quick those two cars are as they work their way. And you know what? Let's take a look if we can. If Greg Gorski's onboard's on, I want to see what he's looking at out near the front, and it's not up. So the only one that we have right there is Evan Benade, which half the time you see him looking in his mirrors, and the other half he's looking out front trying to catch in to Dwayne Selby. There's your top two working their way around turn number 13. Of course, you see the GT battle near the back as well. By he's opened up a 10-second gap to Brett Gaviglio, and Paul Barnes keeps falling through the pack. Here's the problem. Barnes is doing 57s, whereas Gildersleeve is doing 53. So I would not be surprised to see Gildersleeve and Barnes in a battle for position here in just a little bit of time. Speaking of that battle for position, here comes Anna. She's only 1 point last time by 1.1 seconds, and that's definitely going to be a shorter gap as she's really closing in on the 124 Greg Gorski. And if she can get around Greg and get her first win of the season, that speaks volumes, because Greg is one tough customer to get around when it comes to that. Her best finish of the season thus far, pair of seconds, one yesterday and one at the second race at Button Willow. There is the Troster Williams battle. I think, Mike, being a TT competitor, probably really happy to be racing somebody. And look at how close Anna's getting. She's almost on the back bumper of Gorski, though Gorski able to open it up around turn 10. This is going to be the battle to watch with 6 laps to go. I'll tell you this, Gorski looking really hot on the collar as he's trying to keep the 100 Liqui Moly 991.2 Cup car behind him. And she's really catching up. Anna is around turn 13. Now through 14, they come both heavy on the brakes. Around the 14, 15, it's going to be a double apex, and Anna's closing in ever so slightly. She's got probably one more opportunity this lap, and that's heading into turn number 16 to make something happen, though she might be too far away to do anything. 0.4 of a second last time by was the gap between the two of them. Now they work their way around turn number 16. And here's the thing. Tiptoed around 16 the best he can, because he was locked in a battle yesterday and lost it around turn number 16. So he's probably got that in the back of his mind. But knowing Greg, with all the competitions and competitors he's raced against, I highly doubt that he's got that thinking. And here comes Anna closing in, coming out of turn number 3. Let's see what happens through 4, as you do see. Looks like that battle for 4th still heating up right now between Benade and Wesseling across the line. They are closing in. There you go. You see the lap times between Gorski and Pradescu, and they're close. They're really close together between the two of them as they work coming out of turn number 10. They'll head up towards turn number 11 momentarily. Actually, there they are right now in 8, 9, and 10. Thought they were a little bit faster than they really were. The M. Hollander saying, loving the POC live stream. Nice to be able to enjoy a Bloody Mary and watch racing on a Sunday. And I hear that he and Mickey Bobby are making plans to head out to Willow Springs next month. I cannot wait to see what improvements they've done there at Willow Springs. I saw they made a little bit of improvement when we were out there last time, and it might be a little bit better this time. We'll talk about that here in just a little while. Right now, we're watching this battle for position between Gorski and Bradescu as they are still tooth and nail. They'll cut across the line with 4 laps to go. Gorski doing all he can to keep the 100 behind him. He wants win number 3. Pradescu wants win number 1 on the season. Right there on that apex curbing as Gorski. Oh, we got one car off over there in turn number 9. I'm not sure who that was. It almost looked like it was whoever was behind the 636 of Paul Barnes. Oh, that's Gildersleeve. Oh, I was hoping it wasn't Gildersleeve because he was closing in with Salzer and Barnes, and he's lost a lot of ground coming off of turn number 9, so we'll have to get back going. The good news is, at least with the wide runoff, he's able to save it up, and yeah, at the very least, the car's just a little dirty, but look at all the ground that he has lost, so this could be another second place in GT2 for the 307 of Rich Gildersleeve, unless something happens to Barnes, but Gildersleeve, again, this is his first race weekend this season with POC. He ran GT2 time trials and swept both days last time out at Buttonwillow in that Cayman. What a shame. As now you see Selby's open up a little bit bigger gap over Benatti and Westling. They're still nose to tail. Now, they're not necessarily battling too much, and you see Benatti trying to look inside, look in his mirrors and see where Westling is in relation to where he's at on the track. So this is going to be quite interesting to see these two, how they go down to the end of the race. And Benatti able to open up a little bit bigger gap around turn number 13. As there is your third, fourth, and fifth place cars in spec 991.2. We are working 4 laps to go at here at Chuckwalla. For the penultimate race of the weekend, we'll have the orange group at 10:45 p.m. AM Pacific time, not p.m. As still tight battle for the fourth place here. At the bottom it said Perdescu got ahead of Gorski. Let's see what happens when they come across the line in turn number 8. No, that is the 333 of Mark Corral. It's still, the Corral might have a good part to play here in this battle for the lead between Gorski and Perdescu. Here we go, down into turn number 10. They'll work their way through 11. They'll swing into turn number 11 in just a moment's time. You'll see the cars in just a couple of seconds, and Corral does get out of the way as he lets the 2 leaders by. They'll come down 2 laps to go for Gorski. As he's losing a lot of ground through turn number 13. Let's see if Perdescu makes a challenge here in turn 14. No, she does not. She stays under that rear wing of Gorski in the 124 around turn 15. They'll come nose to tail once again, and still about less than a car length separate Gorski and Perdescu from the lead right now. They'll come into turn number 16 and then look down, and it'll be 2 laps to go. 5 miles left of racing for these two as they'll come down across the stripe once again. 0.4 of a second separated Gorski from Perdescu. I think that gap is going to be a lot shorter this time by. They come around turn number 2, still nose to tail. I think Perdescu has finally found that extra gear that she needed to get up there and challenge Gorski for the lead as she looks to the inside, coming out turn 3. Now it's going to be the outside. That they've given really a lot of gap to the battle for third place between Selby, Benatti, and Westling, although it's more of a battle for fourth place between Benatti and Westling, as Westling trying to throw all he can at Benatti to try and get inside that fourth place. Here comes Gildersleeve once again, and what a shame that is for the Cayman driver, as he had such a good race going on and just ended up losing it coming out of turn number 9. Here comes your battle for the lead, and Gorski's opened up a little bit bigger gap between he and Perdescu for the time being, but they are steering down the precipice of a white flag with 1 lap to go. A lot of conversation in the chat if Anna could catch up to Greg and possibly pass him. She's made several attempts to catch up to the cock oil driver, the 124, but he has been able to stave him off, and really Greg's doing the best that he can to keep in the lead and get his 3rd win of the season. But like you said, Anna wants to get win number 1 on the year. Down in the turn number 14 they come. Anna closes in once again, tries to mount a charge. She's almost on that rear bumper of Greg Gorski. They'll come around turn number 15. That's what seems to be Greg's strong point right there, but Anna staying within lockstep. Let's see what she does through the 16-17 complex as they come down they'll come into the straightaway and see the starter for the second to last time. You see that white flag in the air. 1 lap to go. Who's got it over the next 2.7 miles? Is it going to be Gorski or is it going to be Prodescu? They've got 16, now 15 turns to figure out who's going to take the top honors in spec 991.2. It's closing in ever so slightly through turn number 3, but then they head into turn number 4. We'll lose them for just a little bit. You see the battle for 4th place coming through our screen now, and it looks like that Wesseling, unless he can find that extra gear, get a little bit of extra challenge, he may be losing out to Eben Benade for that 4th spot. Now you see a couple other cars right there. There's Paul Barnes, Rich Gildersleeve rolling through as they come down across turn number 8 and 9. Anna's close, but she's not close enough to make any sort of pass here through that 8, 9, 10 complex. That Liqui number 100 trying to do its best to catch up to Gorski, your leader in the 124. Greg, of course, took the lead right there from the start and has not looked back ever since. But Anna's about 1 to 2 car lengths around. We know how good she is through the turn 13 complex. She looks a little high, and she's going to go close a side by side over Gorski, and she's going to tuck in behind the 124 so far. Out of turn number 13. Where are they at in turn number 14? Side by side as Gorski makes out to go to the outside. She's not going to be able to get that pass done, but she's going to try and muscle her way around turn number 15. How close is it this time by? How close do you like it? Not as close as we've seen, but still plenty of time to see if Anna can do one last gas pass into turn number 16. I don't think it's going to happen unless she could get in tight. No, she's not, as Gorski shuts the door on Anna Prodescu. Checkered flag is out. Greg Gorski wins race number 3 of the year. Second place goes to Anna Prodescu. What a fantastic finish between the two of them. And now we get to see the third. That third place isn't settled either between Selby Benade and Wesseling, and it will be coming around turn number 17. Checkered flag is out. Dwayne Selby will finish off on the bottom step of the podium. Eben Benade 4th, Garrett Wesseling in 5th. As they work their way through turn number 16 for the final time at pace car speed, and it's going to be a great showing here with Spec Boxers. Glad to have you with us here on the Porsche Owners Club YouTube channel as they work their way side by side coming out of turn 17. Our eyes are on the starter as they wait for that green flag, and indeed they're going to get it. Green flag is out. Rob Walker gets a nose out front, 2-3 wide near the back of the pack as you see Scarcello moving her way up through the field. Wonderly tucks in the line as you see the 705 and Nigel Maidment sitting there in 4th place. Carnevale making his way up through the front, and so far, John, they're single file with a little bit of a tussle near the back of the top 10.
Yeah, we've got 3 guys in the back there, John Krylo, Alex Maslow, and Gene Segal, that all got DQ'd after qualifying for being underweight, so they'll be coming up through the field.
You definitely want to make sure you're at weight with the tech here. You're on board with Carnevale as he tries to see if he can get around the 614 of Murray Wonderly. He lists his color as Tiger, and sometimes if you look close enough on the camera, you can see the Tiger stripes as they work their way towards turn number 8. This to me is one of the 2 fun sections as you see Wonderly trying to go high, wide, and handsome off of turn number 8 for a defense off of Ryan Moore, who had a bad race also. He's one of those drivers we mentioned in qualifying, John, to watch out for because he had basically 1 race left tires, quote unquote, because he was out early 2-3 laps into the showing.
Yeah, had a couple axle bolts break on him, so yeah, he should be much faster today.
Yes, having axle bolts is a good thing as well. And I've got to say, it's very strange yesterday to see the amount of attrition that we saw. Don't normally see it here in Porsche Owners Club. It seemed like that there was some sort of voodoo doll over the circuit. You're side by side near the back there.
I agree. We had a comp committee meeting for an hour and a half last night after that race, going through incidents, so it was not a very clean race, we'll say.
Yeah, that's going to be Kovac and Scarcello in position for, that's going to be for the top 10 in class right there. As everybody's kind of sorting themselves out as the doctor falling back just a little bit. Who's not falling back is Rob Walker. He's already trying to get out front and get away from Wonderly, Carnivale, and Maidment as their second, third, and fourth. 2.2 seconds separate those drivers. Behind Chang, you've got the Porteous Robinson battle as well. Seigel already making his way up through the field. Right now, he's 15th in class and started further at the back, so already picking and clawing his way up. I don't know if something's wrong with Robinson because she's fallen back from 14th. Seigel, Kiefer, Beauchert, all making their way around that around that 346. Came across the line in 14th, but still a lot of drivers trying to see if they can get their way around that purple and white Boxster. Now you start to see the gap ever so slightly. Draymond tried to see if he can get his way into the top five, but not able to do it just yet, and also hold off Alan Watts, Rado Eberle right there, and there's Brandemeyer Kovac and Larry Haas. Haas with a great showing so far. Chang trying to hold off Porteous. He got a little bit of dust kicked up, but so far so good as the field working their way around turn number 11. Speaking of 11 laps to go. These are always short races. And John, for drivers who are watching here and they're really looking to see to get into POC, something we mentioned yesterday is the ladder system, but you don't necessarily need to have that ladder system if you've already have experience, say, in time trials.
That's absolutely true. You can come in with experience from other clubs, and you look at that and evaluate, and then make a decision as to whether you can race with us. But we have quite a few drivers. Jim Gintersleeve in the red race earlier was a PCA racer that came over in one of his first races with some prior experience.
I was going to say, and then you also had another competitor there from time trials who went into, who came basically and raced for the first weekend this season. So, James Williams running Spec 991.2, in spite of him being near the back of the pack, he still had some quality racing in today's race.
You're absolutely right. We got a couple guys in the back here, Yazzie and Gil Brittany. Both of those are provisional drivers, so they're taking their third start in their provisional racing, starting DFL. They'll have one more to go, and then they'll have their race license.
The next time out at Willow Springs, that'll be a fun showing for them as well. But it's good to see there's one spinner right back there. That, I believe, might be is that the 170 that's involved in that spin? I'm not sure. We'll try and get the number there, but that's a close one. And thankfully, with as wide as things are here, Chuckwalla, it's easy to see how many cars are. Oh, that was absolutely close as Vivek and Salehi tried to get around side by side. They were able to do that, but the spin there coming around turn number 3. No harm, no foul, just tailing Charlie there. And actually, I apologize there as the 170 of Porteous trying to hold off Seigel, Kiefer, and Kiefer there. So there's just a little bit of a conga line back behind him. But you also see Maidment holding off Ryan Moore and closing in as well are Draymond and Watts for position. They're second and third with Wonderly and Carnivale as they are basically in a different zip code than everybody else, and Walker's just in another state at this point. Last time by, he was 3 seconds ahead of Wonderly. And that's another thing, too, that I notice is we've had 2 track records fall this weekend in the 991.2 spec and here in Spec Boxster.
Yeah, the guys have figured out the track, and whenever Rob Walker's here, he's always going to turn it up for sure.
And indeed, now he once again makes himself the only driver in the ones, 59.956, and that was something I talked about too, John. Is the first time I met Rob Walker was in Porsche Sprint Challenge, and he was a quick Masters driver then. He's one heck of a shoe here, and really trying to figure stuff out in Porsche Carrera Cup North America. When he does that, I think then he's going to give the likes of Scott Blend, the Kelly Moss guys, he's going to give them all a hard time.
I can imagine it. He's a great driver.
You're on board right now with Carnivale, 1.2 seconds behind Murray Wonderly. He's got a bit of time between he and Maidment, though, for who's in fourth place, because Maidment tried to hold off Moore and Draymond around the circuit. As right now, there's your second and third place drivers. There's Maidment, there's Moore and Draymond. And Watts close by as well. Watts in the 225 this weekend, trying to at least finish a race, not have the best luck in race number 1, but so far his best finish of the year is 7th in Spring Mountain race number 3. So trying to put something together as the race weekend is coming to a close, lap by lap. Wouldn't be surprised to see Reto Eberle or Kovac close in either. They're about 1.5 seconds behind the Moore, Draymond, Watts train as they work their way, as you said, through the bowl. But now, knocking at the door of Maidment is Ryan Moore, as he's trying to do what he can to get further up through that top 5.
Yeah, Ryan's doing a good job, and he didn't race in the second race yesterday, I believe, so he's got a little fresher tires than the rest of the guys, too.
I think his tires saw more of that dirt in turn 3 than it did the pavement, but a great work, by the way, by the Chuckwalla Valley track safety crew to get all those drivers out of the way. You know, that's one thing that I love about these open track spaces. You can quickly move and dispatch and get out of the way of tracks. And granted, you know, there are some tracks where we definitely need barriers, but out here, you go wide, well, guess what? You can still save yourself from possibly a lot of damage as if you were to hit, you know, maybe a tire wall.
Yeah, they talk about it in the drivers' meeting on Friday practice. If you're going to go off, just go off. It's just a bunch of dirt. Just drive through it.
Go off, see the mountains, see the sight of the valley, stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's like Krylo had a good battle back there with Seigel and Maslow. That's for 13th. Down for the lead. That's just long done and dusted. Let's see if Carnivale's closed in on Wonderly. Indeed, he hasn't. I did see Maidment trying his best to hold off more that last camera shot, but that's not as close as it was last time by. And I see that Watts is finally shaking Eberle. Well, that's because Kovac is closed in with Eberle there for the 8th spot. That's going to give Haas a chance to close in. As Haas, you see coming up over the crest of turn number 9, as the doctor behind him as well. So things have spaced out just a little bit. Now, for those watching, I know that sometimes it's like, okay, this is kind of dull, kind of droll, but in all seriousness, John, wherever you race, doesn't matter if you race in the red group, if you race in the orange group, if you do time trials, you're going to have somebody to race with here in POC.
That's usually the way it works out. There's 25 cars get out there. There's going to be somebody for you to race with. There's a lot of cars in different speeds, and it makes it fun.
Now take a look at the schedule. Of course, a wide variety of racetracks still left to run here in POC. Obviously, we're heading to Willow Springs next month. I can't wait to preview that because that's one of my favorite courses that we've been to. And then we head off to Laguna Seca, back to Willow Springs, back to Buttonwillow, back to Chuckwalla, though we're going to do the opposite direction. And then we round out the season here at Willow Springs. So it doesn't matter where you race. If you're on the West Coast, there's going to be a racetrack near you where you can run your Porsche.
Yeah, we're looking forward to going to Willow Springs next month, and the rumor is that Willow Springs will get completely repaved over the summer. So when we go back in September, we will be the first people back on the new track.
Oh, that's going to be fantastic. I know that I was able to see the a little bit of when we were there back in November last time, or the last race of the season, I should say, and it looked like they started making some improvements. Do we know what they've done between then and now?
From what I understand, there's been more tire walls put up in a few areas, but they're getting themselves ready for the repave and all the FIA paint schemes and things need to go into where we go off in turn 8 and 9 now, and it's just dirt. We'll have a lot of runoff there with some of that sticky tape to keep you on the track.
Ooh, that would be quite interesting to see. So can't wait to see that in just a couple of weeks. But still here at Chuckwalla Valley Raceway. And Rob Walker, as you see, coming around turn number 13 with a commanding lead, 6 seconds last time by over Wonderly and Carnivale. And still have a tight battle there for fourth place between Maidment and Moore, as Moore is about a 1 to 2 car length gap between he and Maidment. Draymond's fallen off just a little bit. You also see the Eberly Kovac battle for the 8th and 9th spot. And Larry Haas made his way into the top 10 with the Dr. Greg sitting there in 11th. It's been a good weekend for the Scarcellos, John, because, Greg, it seems like he's moving his way up through the field in a very tough spec Boxster class. And, Jane doing quite well in her Miata in GT7.
Yeah, Greg just started driving that Boxster spec. He also came to us in a Mazda and then moved into Boxster spec. So he's getting the feel for the car and the difference for the car. And rumor is Jane's about to make the same move.
That'll be interesting as well. And something you and I have talked about off and on over the past couple of years is Hollander saying on the chat, we'll talk about the Spec 2.7 in a second, but I think you'll get a kick out of this on the YouTube chat. Hollander saying serious FOMO here. Could have given Rob a good run in Scottish garage repeating. Hollander, mid-packer.
Matt's always having a good time, that's for sure.
Yeah. Well, hopefully we'll see you out there at Willow Springs in just a couple of weeks. But let's talk about Spec 2.7. I know this is a class that you're really adamant to try and get more cars over. What's the latest as we saw a third car entered into the class this weekend?
Yeah, Enrique didn't get his car finished. The transmission cables didn't show up till the day before the event, so he's still trying to get that car together. He hopes by Willow it'll be there. And the rumor is there's 3 or 4 out there being built right now, and so we may see the group get bigger and bigger as we go, which has been the case over the years. We've gone from 944 spec to Boxster spec to now spec 0.27, and it takes 2-3 seasons to actually see some of the transition happen.
And that's good to see, especially because I know that you and Vivek could probably appreciate a couple more cars to run with. We saw the battles with you and Vivek at Button Willow. I have a feeling we'll see that replayed at Willow Springs. So it's going to be interesting. It's neat to see a class go from, small from where you guys are at to large. And I'm excited to see that built.
Yeah, we saw that in the history when Boxster spec started. It was about 2944 specs out and only 2 Boxster specs. And then the next year there was 3 and 4. And, well, as you can see, now we get 25.
Yeah, spec Boxster growing and growing as you see more and more. Here comes the 917 and Moore alongside Maidment, and Maidment shutting the door on Moore down the straightaway. See if Moore tries another attack, and it's kind of weird, honestly, to see somebody try a pass on the inside of 16-17 with only 5 laps to go. You'd think that'd be something you'd see with 1 to 2 laps to go.
If you can get in front at any time on this track, you get in front. It is a hard place to pass.
Exactly. Passing's at a premium. And of course, now the driver's getting into that section where you're basically going uphill all the way over turn number 11. On my notes, I was able to see kind of a topography map, and I saw the map and I saw the rise. I'm like, that'd be something interesting to put in here because, you think some of these tracks out west, there's not much elevation change, obviously save for Laguna Seca and Willow Springs, but this is a very hilly track, to say the least, and that's even with the run from 10 to 11 being 24 feet higher elevation.
Yeah, there's a couple of points there where you're getting slowed down to get through these small turns and go up the hill all the way into a blind. High-speed sweeping S's there, so it's a lot of fun when you get down there and got to know your marks.
Wonderly able to put himself and Randy Bergrum between the two of them. There's the Maidment train. It's now a 4-car train with Maidment, Moore, Draymond, and Watts is finally latched on as the caboose there. And you see Eberly and Kovac going nose to tail coming out of turn number 12. So lots of great battles to watch out for in Spec Boxster. Haas, you might have to hold off Keefe here in just a little bit as he's reeling in the 228. Chris Kiefer is. Rob Walker coming across the line, 8 laps in, 5 laps to go. 4 laps ago, I should say, looking at my timing, is that's just changed over. And now you've got two splits between Maidment and Moore, Draymond and Watts. Let's see if Moore decides to go around the inside. He's going to try this time. And our producer saying he thinks all the California tracks have great elevation change except Buttonwillow. Yeah, now that I think about looking up and down the schedule, yeah, you're right. I messed that one up a little bit, but it is what it is. Everly and Kovac running their fastest laps of the race, and when you're running with somebody, you definitely want to run as close as you can. But now, this battle for fourth job between Maidment and Moore might have a little bit of a lap down car scenario to come in.
I didn't see that yet, so yeah, if they're coming into the slower cars, it'll definitely make a difference.
Oh, one car off back there in turn number 3. Not sure. That is actually Dr. Greg Scarcello, and he will have to hold off as Krylo and Seigel come by. They're able to come by in good fashion, and there you go. It's just that easy. Just make sure you slow her down, lower down. So Scarcello gets in front of Maslow. He'll fall all the way down to Fort as the cars making their way around once again. There's Rob Walker, your leader, working his way through turn number 13. And look at how close the battle is for fourth as you see Moore looking to the inside of Maidment. Not able to make it happen as of yet. Let's watch and see how they come through turn number 12. And just a little bit, there's 11. And I have a feeling that's still going to be tight nose to tail because to pass in turn number 11 is going to be absolutely tough. What I like about turn number 13 here, John, is obviously the banking, because you could run a whole bunch of different lines to close in on whoever you're racing with.
Yeah, it's one of the greatest places to pass, actually, I believe. You can get in there, and if they take the top line, you take the bottom, and it's a fun place to get in there side by side.
Saw somebody go side by side. Speaking of, and that was actually that was not for position. That was just to get our Randy Bergram for just on track position, as Bergram's currently sitting second place in GT7. And once again, it's Ryan Moore trying to do what he can to get around Nigel Maidment to just go up one position in that top 5. And it's still early in the season. We still have 6 rounds left to go, so lots of racing left. But with the way as close as Spec Boxer is, John, you want every position you can get, no matter how early in the season it is.
Points are important. Comes down usually in Boxer Spec to the last race of the season in the last few years, where the champions decided, or second or third place decided. So, yes, get all your points every weekend.
Well, this is a great battle back here between, looks like Karen Robinson, Alicia Ray. That is for 20th position overall. You also have Beauchart, Bear Salehi making his way around. You saw Ray trying to look to the inside of Robinson, able to make things happen through there, and they're still closing in on one another as Salehi running about the same time as everybody else behind them. Briganti, Hazari, Yazdi, all close together for overall position, and Robinson just leaving that door open just a little bit, but Ray not able to capitalize just yet. Let's see if Hazari can, actually it's not Hazari, Salehi can make his way through. Less than 3 laps to go, but this is not a bad battle here towards the back of the pack. A little bit of puff of smoke out of Salehi, so I wonder if he's got some tire rub going on there.
That's an older 911. It smokes all the time.
Okay, that's good to know. Straight from the president's mouth to our ears. Here comes the battle for fourth place in Spec Boxer. It's Maidment still ahead of Moore, Draymond, and Watts. 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th, although Watts falling back just a little bit in that 2:25. 2 laps to go as Walker comes across the line. Through turn number 17. That battle still heating up between Ryan Moore and Nigel Maidment. Of course, Klaus Draymond, being the interested spectator that he is in that 409, looking pretty good so far. We mentioned Maidment having a little bit of rough showing in race 1, a little bit better in race 2. I think he's finally found his stride, though it's going to be tough for him to defend on Moore as Moore looks to the outside through turn number 4.
Yeah, I think Nigel retubbed his car recently, and so the last couple of events he's really kind of get it in tune, but looks like he did get it in tune this weekend.
It's better now because now he can go for a run towards that championship. Here's that battle for 20th that we've been mentioning, 20th overall, with Karen Robinson leading that, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 7-car train around the bowl. And here comes your leader, Rob Walker. He might be set to put these guys one lap down as they come around turn number 13, Rob Walker does. He'll look set to see that battle rage on. We've been watching this battle for the most part. Maidment holding off more. And now Draymond and Watts have also closed in through the section. John, I love this camera shot because you see that's one of those areas where you see the cresting of the drivers and the lean on these cars as they work their way through 9.
Oh yeah, you get over that hill and you just get on the gas full throttle and try to hang on to it as you come around that sweeping turn. It's so much fun.
Of course, then you got the bank turn number 13 as Rob Walker comes down the final corner. White flag is out, 1 lap to go. Is Walker, your race 1 winner, trying to make it 2 out of 3 here. Here comes Wonderly. He's opened up a decent gap between he and Carnivale. Is Carnivale looking pretty good in that 9:25. Missing the first 2 weekends. He's 4th place right now, his best finish. So he's up to try to get up to 3rd as they're trying to work their way around. But this battle for 4th really looking pretty good between Maidment, Moore, Draymond, and Watts. Single file. So now is go time for Moore if he definitely wants to have one more position to get up into 4th place. Podium for now is done and dusted unless something happens to Walker, Wonderly, or Carnivale. Maidment trying to see if he can hold off Moore for that 4th spot. And Moore tried to make a move there in turn 4. Not going to make it happen this time by. I have a feeling that Moore is calculating where he wants that move. And Rob Walker has caught the back end of that Robinson train as he's trying his best to get around. He doesn't need to rush really as he's on the back of Beauchart. Might as well let these drivers all race. He's going to dive to the inside there and put Beauchart 1 lap down. So now he's closing in on Yazdi in the 145, headed towards turn number 13. He's going to go high on Yazdi. So Yazdi will have his race ended once Walker goes by. Up next is Gil Briganti in the 700, and then Bear Salehi in the 47. He might be able to pick off all of these cars as Salehi gets around Robinson, and Ray goes high on Ray, does Rob Walker, as he is almost to the end of his race, and he gets around Robinson. So now this battle between Robinson and Ray becomes even more contingent because they're on the final couple of corners. Bear Salehi might be able to squeeze out one more lap, and I think that he is going to, but either way, checkered flag is out. And Rob Walker is your winner here in overall in Spec Boxster. 21st goes to Robinson, 22nd to Alicia Ray. Here comes your 2nd and 3rd place finishers, Wonderly and Carnivale.